All last week, my Twitter mentions are like, it's like a nuclear holocaust in there
I
most
can
days.
only
Yeah.
imagine. Like, I don't think it ever goes beyond, like, what is the highest number? 99 plus? I think I've only had that once.
Yeah,
And
it's
I suspect yours is always just there.
yeah, it's like every crazy person thinks that I need to hear what they have to say. And you know what, Ezra gives me trouble because he's like, you should block those people. But I am more spiteful. And so I just mute them because I want them to hear what I'm saying, but know that I don't care what they
Ah,
have to say to me.
nice. Power move,
Yeah.
Sheila. Power move.
Yes, thank you. But you enraged all of vegan Twitter, which is a rookie mistake. I did that like 6 years ago. You end up with all these crazy people who
Oh
have
man.
have comfort chickens. They think that chickens are this higher functioning creature that can provide some sort of like empathic support to them when they need emotional support, which I mean, nobody who's ever met a chicken thinks that. But you enraged all these people, and it was like days and days and days
They didn't
of
stop. I thought for sure something new will come along and they'll forget about me. They didn't. It just kept going and going, and I was like, why is this? Honestly, Sheila, it's ridiculous. I All I did was in a benign moment. I wasn't even thinking. I was just hanging
yeah,
outside with the dogs. It was sunny, and I just replied to an A&W. It was an article about the new A&W veggie burger. It was a Globe and Mail article, and I'm a
yeah.
little bit pissy about all of the constant push about taxing beef and how bad everyone is for eating beef, and I eat
I've
a
got
high beef
things to
diet.
say about A&W too and their marketing campaign
Fair
and their
enough.
yeah, like their anti-hormone stuff and their antibiotic stuff. I mean, I've got a lot of like actual farmer opinions to say about A&W's beef. Um, but it's so funny when you wade into vegan Twitter and
I
they're
didn't
telling
even
me
mean
how to
to.
farm. They're telling me how to farm. And what happens at the abattoir when the cows go down the line? And it's like, no, you know what? You guys just eat apples and cabbage, and I bet you smell
Yeah.
horrible. I'm not taking any food advice from you, but they had lots of food advice for you.
It was amazing. Like, seriously, like I said, I didn't mean to get into this. It was just benign, like, bugger off kind of comment to the media. And little did I know, I get home from work and I could see my Twitter notifications just went insane. And
Yeah.
I had lots of support and people retweeted it,
Yeah.
and hell yeah, meat eaters, and people posting pictures of burgers and whatever. It was great. But there was also this percentage of people, and they were not. There was two that were reasonable. Well, that's not true. One became reasonable after realizing they couldn't really argue anymore, and then the other one was more just reasonable in general. The rest were just aggressive. Like,
Yeah.
I try really hard to be empathetic towards vegans.
Mhm.
I've made a video. I try to understand their position. I've tried veganism and vegetarianism for health reasons, for managing chronic health reasons. Lots of people push that idea and say you'll feel better, and some people do. That's great for them. Didn't
Yeah.
work for me. I'm very much into high protein, high red meat content. Period. I live on beef, goat cheese, high protein, high fat stuff. It's not a vegan diet. And I try to explain this to people, and I would hope that they would engage. Usually, once I said something rational, they just left. They just couldn't say anything, so they just left. But there was a couple. They just kept going with the memes and the murderer and the slicing of the throat comments, and it was just like, oh my God, what have I done here? And I engaged with the few just because it was kind of fun. It gives a really interesting picture. Once in a while, if you do dive in, it gives a fun picture of society. But then you also kind of, at the end of the day, you think, is this where we are now? As a prairie girl, it is kind of funny because that was my argument, was you guys have never been to a farm, have you? You don't have, like, you picture the PETA movie Meet Your Meat with massive
Mhm.
industrialized gross factory farming,
Yeah.
and you can't fathom that a farmer would care so much for their animals. They don't understand either, even on the sense of land. The kind of, to bring it to a more serious note, when a farmer, not big farmers, but regular family, average farmers, normal average people like yourself, so many of my family, they care for their land. And in order to survive off the land, they have to be in tune with the land. Farmers know cycles and seasons better than anybody else. They understand what all the little things mean and how much snow there's going to be and what that means for the spring. They are in tune in every way. And when it comes to their animals, if there's a sick cow, they get a vet out, even though it costs a lot of money. They are generally ethical. Generally, they care more for animals than most of these people. And I think it's so funny because we talk about how these farms are ruining the earth, and everybody's, yelling at farmers for everything. And it's like, I don't think that these urbanites maybe understand that they're so way off base. And I just wish, Sheila, once that all of these people that went and like protested at Antler in Toronto, like, please come to Saskatchewan and go to a beef farm. Please, please, please. I just want to see it. I want to take a camera and see that, play out. Actually, I'd like them to come to your house. I think that'd be fun. I'd like to watch you take a swing at those activists.
I
not
would
a
put
not a
them to
literal
work.
physical swing, but some,
I would put them to such hard work that they would be begging for a steak just for the protein. That's an excerpt from my weekly show, The Gun Show. It airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Each week, I bring you an informal interview with an interesting newsmaker or citizen activist you might not have heard of, but who is making a big difference in Canadian politics. And we'll talk about issues in a way you'll never see done in the mainstream media. To subscribe, go to therebel.media/shows.